Talk a bit more about this and other new measures planned by the French government. I'm joined on the set by Marion Duquesne. Marion, you are the spokesperson for the French feminist activist group Les Effrontés, which could be translated into the Brazen. Your group was one of the very first to participate in the French version of the Me Too movement. First of all, can you situate for us France compared to other countries around the world? How bad is the situation?
It's much better than many countries, obviously, but I think we have a tendency to rest on our laurels. We have passed many laws which are supposed to guarantee equality between men and women, and they are not properly enforced. But we have a tendency to think that everything is good because we have a law, so we have to go and move forward with that.
Now, what for you is the biggest issue here in France? There are so many that are being discussed by the government during these days and the coming weeks. What for you is the biggest issue?
I think there is an important issue with the violence against women, which has been highlighted with the Me Too movement for everybody to see. And the problem is that while there has been an increase of 30% in complaints at police stations and everything, there's almost been a decrease in funding for organizations. So we are pretending that this is important and we have to move forward and act on it. But at the same time, there is less and less funding and the government hasn't taken any concrete steps to address violence against women.
Well, this is the real issue, because one of the things that's being talked about is perhaps giving fines to people who hassle a woman, for example, on the metro or something like that, making an immediate fine be paid. But the question is how do you pay for those people to be monitoring that and trying to get people to pay those fines?
Yeah, I don't think it's a good solution because, first of all, you have to implement more police and you have to pay them. And I think the money could be better used, given, for instance, to organizations who specialize in helping women. Also, because it will always be, reinforcement of police in neighborhoods where there's already a lot of facial, discrimination and controls. And I think this will target, in the end, always the same kind of populations, which are, a more poor or immigrant population. And it still leaves the high powerful to go free. So it's not a great solution, I think.
How much of this do you feel is a cultural issue? Can the government really change people's minds, men's minds?
Not through police action, through education, yes. And we have to implement means. We have to train teachers. We have to train everything. But we can't just add more workload to teachers who are already poorly paid. So it has to be done properly.
What does that mean exactly, being done properly? How would you see it to educate people?
I think it would be nice. You have to train teachers, but I think it could be, we could have also people from outside who come and talk to children, because the workload can always rest on teachers who are not experts on this matter. So I think a real plan for education has to be implemented. Another
very thorny issue here in France in regards to this bill is the age for sexual consent. Just to remind our viewers, France at the moment doesn't have an age limit for consensual sex, so there's no such thing as statutory rape. Why is it so hard for lawmakers to agree on establishing an age?
I don't know. There's this idea, I think, of sexual freedom in France that, hides everything that has to do with rape and harassment, as we've seen with the backlash on the Me Too movement for Catherine Deneuve and all these women and their tribune. I think we have a confusion between sexual freedom and harassment or rape, and that's why don't want to put legislation, because they would say if you're 13 then you have sex with a 16-year-old, then it might not be rape, but then it will fall under the category of law. So they want to prevent that, and they forget that some kids under 13 are just children and they cannot consent.